And a good morning. Kind of back on schedule here today.
Yep.
Glad to be here. Lanny Ford, Rember, the G-Man. G stands for genius today because he's going to enlighten us with all types of great information here about your Carolina Panthers. Isn't that right? Your Carolina Panthers? I noticed last night football practice he had on his Bill Belichick hoodie under his pads. I don't know what he was thinking.
Well, the kids asked him if he was hot. He said, I'm dying of this thing.
I don't know what you were thinking, G. I'll be honest with you, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking. That was a little that's a little over the top, I think, even for you. Last night, after Monday, last night was nice.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It was cloudy.
Yeah.
The humidity had dropped a little bit. Tuesday was still a little bit rough, but Monday was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
It was hot Monday.
They're saying this morning it's going to dry out some. Even though it's going to be hot, it's going to dry out. And,
I'll take that.
yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you can function a little better. I mean, it's hot, but you can still function a little better. When it's
One
not
of the breaking
humid.
stories that came out of the NFL I heard yesterday is Richardson has been named starting quarterback. Anthony Richardson. He is a rookie out of Florida.
Yes.
For the Colts.
Yes.
Everything that I've read and heard, he's raw but really talented.
Yes.
But needs to be polished. What do you know about him, G?
Well, he's got a really good arm.
Mm-hmm.
He's really athletic.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like on the same level of Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as strong as an arm, but what he needs is just his accuracy was not the best out of that draft, but Will Levis came, at the bottom of the second, or the top of the second round?
Right.
And he was the number one accurate quarterback in the
Right.
Here's where the
combine.
problem. Here's where the problem comes from, and why he's going to struggle early. But he has the body to take it. It's a little bit different.
If
He's a big kid.
everybody can.
Will
Yeah.
Levis?
Yeah, because he's
Levis or Richardson?
when he started against Buffalo, that was just his 14th start since high school.
Right.
Since high school.
Because Kyle
Kinda-
Trask
That's right.
played before him until his senior year,
And it kind of reminds you of
or not his senior year because he's only 20.
the kid that went
Richardson.
to Chicago from Carolina.
Trubisky.
Trubisky. He had only started 9 games in college.
Yeah.
So it's another thing, but they said, now here's the other side of it. They've got the stash backing him up, Gardner Minshew, and you know that he's serviceable. You know that he can go out there and manage the game.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not – I don't think that Minshew is a starting quarterback, but he is a top-notch reserve player that you don't fall off a ton when you put him in.
Fitz magic. He gives you a little bit of that Fitz magic.
Yeah.
They're not the same, but similar in what they can provide, right? So,
I liked Anthony Richardson. He was just
yes.
raw. I liked him.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is experience is very, very important because the game is so fast,
Yeah.
right? So when you look at measurables, why did Zach Wilson? I say year one he failed. That's not fair.
That's not fair to him. because-
and being drafted number 2 is not fair to him either because of what he played against in college.
Yeah.
And what I mean not fair to him, I'm talking about the expectation that came with it. The game, the SEC defenses, all right, are extremely fast, right? They're pro guys. I say they are, a lot of them.
A lot of them, yeah.
But there is nothing like an NFL defensive end, rush in / outside linebacker.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you look at it, okay, one of the things that hurts the top drafted quarterbacks, because they're a top drafted quarterback, they're usually going somewhere that's dysfunctional.
Exactly.
Now, it had Zach Miller went, and I heard people talking about this yesterday. They need to showcase Zach Miller or Zach Wilson and get him to another team that's got a stable, offensively minded quarterback type coach that could, develop and
he played well against the Panthers.
I know, but when
not,
you but when you see that's one of the things that, and especially if it's a quarterback that's not exactly plug and play into the NFL.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Going into a dysfunctional operation.
Well, that's true. But to your point, I said he did well against man. That's kind of what you're talking about. Hey, he's got a little bit here. He needs to go into a situation that's obviously stable, that he has a chance to develop from that, instead of trying to go and be the playmaker. He can be the distributor for
the problem with the Jets is they took him so high. The expectations, you've got to play him now.
Well,
Yeah.
and the pundits on ESPN and other networks, not just ESPN, but I'm just talking about in general. Oh, he is ready. He's got all the intangibles. He can do.
No.
You have to be prepared.
Yeah. I don't know that anything prepares you for the NFL. I'll be honest.
Well, this is the thing about it. Now, there's truth to that, but this thing about it, if you've got offensive coordinators or a head coach or defensive coordinators or position coaches that have been there and done that, and not only played, but let's say more importantly, trained players to go and what that league is like, your chances are much higher for success. And so that's why I like the SEC so much with the guys going to the next level, because they have a lot of former NFL people.
But here's
Teaching it.
but here's the problem.
Coaches.
Here's the problem, and you hear this about, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, you hear this about Alabama, Ohio State, some of these big Michigan. They have so much NFL caliber talent around them in high school.
Yeah.
NFL caliber offensive lines, receivers.
Right.
When you get to that dysfunctional team that would struggle to beat an Alabama, Ohio State from the NFL because of the matchup,
Right.
they struggle because they can't rely and lean on these other pieces.
Exactly.
Now, the only exception to that with me, and he did not look good, and I hope it's just holding back, but would be Bryce Young. He looks like a child out there on the field.
He is.
With the rest of them.
Still,
And I'm talking about size-wise.
No, he is.
But because of the way he can process and the speed at which he can process the game, which you can't teach.
No.
You either can do it or you can't do it.
That's exactly
I've said
right.
that about offensive linemen. There are certain offensive linemen and defensive linemen that can go up and read the guy across from them, knowing what they know about what they're supposed to do, and make it happen. If you've got guys that have to go up there and think about what did he say I need to do here, they can't really advance to that next level, because some of that has to be instinct. That makes the difference in any position. Really,
I think it's kind of unfair, that the Alabama quarterbacks and the Michigan quarterbacks and all these. I think it's unfair that they're expected to be great when they're the whole reason they're brought in. And Bryce is different. Just like Matt, Boyd, it was the plays for the Patriots. Matt, quarterback. Well, anyway,
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, yeah.
5 years in the system, that kind of thing. These guys are a little different in that regard. But and look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is could arguably be the best one to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Namath, right?
That's it.
Right. You know what I'm saying, right?
Like Ohio State, you can't name a successful
this
quarterback
is
from
it.
Ohio State.
You really didn't need that type of quarterback in those teams, because they didn't have to be the playmaker. They could be the distributor because of all the other stuff around.
And the level of coaching that they're getting to understand how to best utilize you.
Absolutely.
I've always said Alabama and Ohio State specifically, their quarterbacks are more excellent managers than they are excellent playmakers, because they have got the
100%.
talent and the teaching that they can utilize to make themselves better.
See, Bryce broke the mold on that.
Right.
He was the difference.
Yeah.
See, look how Mac Jones turned out in his rookie season. He was picked at pick 15?
Yeah.
And look how he turned out.
But look what Mac Jones would have done had he had somebody that actually cared about offense instead of Bill Belichick, and having an offensive coordinator that had never coached offense. I mean, he was one that was kind of trapped too. Think about how much better he could have been
if there was an offensive
if he had a
coach.
real offensive coordinator coach.
Yeah. So
because the team is all defense.
That's right.
The team is
That's right.
built off of that,
Yep.
and that's not going to change.
and
they're going to run toss sweep, right? They're going to throw the short.
And
ball.
now the other thing that will help Mac Jones is they brought in Zeke Elliott. I mean, that's another, situational back that they could bring in because he's not who they thought they were, thought he was.
Right.
And then the other thing that's going to hurt the Colts with Anthony Richardson starting, and it may be the reason they started, is no Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
They still haven't got him signed, and Dallas Cowboys still don't have
Tony Pollard.
Well, he's injured, but Zach Martin, big offensive lineman,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's holding out, waiting for a new deal.
Other than Trent Williams, I think that he is the number 2 offensive lineman in the league.
And he is, and he's what, 14 years in?
Yeah.
I mean, he's
no,
old.
No.
He's
31 now.
Okay,
Or, no,
I thought he was
32.
been in there longer. Seems like he's been in there
32.
longer.
But Trent Williams has been in the league, 13 years now?
Yep.
He's 35. And he is still the best offensive line. He was the best offensive line when he was 28.
Well, see that, and to that point,
Yeah.
that is the difference in the positions in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The experience does matter in positioning when you're an offensive lineman, right? So when we look at how teams are constructed and the most impactful players on defense, they are corners, outside rush ends, and outside linebackers first, and corners second. That's just when you look at the impact that two positions have on the field on defense versus an offense that's got a quarterback that's inexperienced or is not very mobile. That is the two.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's just,
let me get a couple comments that came in. Richie, good morning. Richie said that Richardson hit the rafters with a throw on his pro day. Now, he's got a cannon on him. Justin
He
Rangel.
does have a cannon.
Justin's one of my boys, played for me at Highland. Good morning to you, Justin. He said, did you see the size of Deuce Vaughn, the running back in Dallas?
Oh, he is
Big
huge.
dude.
Yes. Bryce Young is too small, Milton says. The O-line will get him killed. That is my concern. I'll be
Yes.
quite honest with you. If he can make it through. And then Justin said, Panthers taking the same route they did with Cam, focus on skill positions, zero interest in spending top capital for offensive line. Now, I do think that Frank Reich will change that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tell him, G. Tell him.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Right.
Let me take a break. And then we'll come back and we'll go to Panthers. Let me take a break. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Wednesday morning. Justin said that Zach Martin re-signed 2 days ago. I had not heard that. I guess I was going by Monday stuff.
Yep, I just saw it.
$18 million a year.
Yep.
And he's probably worth that. But that takes some cap hit and money from Dallas that they could do at other places.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Now, go back to the Panthers. I watched the Panthers. They lost 27-0. Dismal. Basically no offense. Now, I do think, we were talking about this during the break, I do think Frank Reich, in my opinion, Frank Reich is the best coach already that the Panthers have hired that can take them to the next level. Love Ron Rivera, but still think there was an issue with Ron being a defensive guy, not concentrating on enough offense. And then the other thing, now that it's all come through, that I think was a hindrance to Ron Rivera, I think Jerry Richardson meddled a little bit too much in there and maybe didn't let them get to where they needed to get. So the Panthers, the other problem with the Panthers, you can't name any standout players like you can on other teams. They don't have one of those.
The first one that comes to mind is Brian Burns, and he is.
I'll take that.
He is a very good player.
He is.
Very,
He is, and they even talked about putting him up for draft bait.
Yeah.
But
for
see,
capital,
here's
yeah.
the thing: he costs a lot of money, and he's not even the best at his position. He is one of the best, but you got to take into account T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, but he is for the Panthers.
But he is for the Panthers.
Right.
And that's the whole point of that.
Yeah. And I still say the kid that got out of NC State playing left tackle.
Luvu, or Ikemakwanu?
Yes. He still hasn't gotten there either. Justin said paid too much sending DJ Moore to Chicago. That was a top-tier receiver that a Bryce Young could have used. But,
there was no way of getting that number one overall pick.
I'm not in charge.
Right.
I'm not in charge.
Well, they wouldn't have got Bryce if they would have done that with DJ with the capital and everything else.
But there was still some pretty good quarterbacks
that
they could have pulled from.
That about that?
Justin.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is a very good
The
point.
problem is everything is so now that when somebody like a Belichick, tries to plan out 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to give Frank Reich some leeway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm actually on board with this.
Yes.
Okay. So G thinks
that in the next 3, maybe 4-ish years,
okay,
the Saints will come number 1 in the division for, I want to say, maybe 3 or 4 years. Depends on how long Derek Carr decides to stay with them.
Right.
And then, if Michael Thomas gets traded, because by then he'll be 34,
Yeah,
35.
probably be done, right.
He'll probably be done. Derek Carr is already, 32?
Close to that.
33?
Yeah.
If Derek Carr decides to hang it up at 36,
Or his skill level drops off, right?
or if his skill
Who
level
moves
drops
in?
off,
Who moves in?
the Panthers will move in to number 1 in the division because the number 1 spot.
I think
is
they're number 1 in the
guaranteed.
division this year because I think the division's going to be the worst division in the NFL.
I agree.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was the worst last year.
But the Saints have the best opportunity because of who they got at quarterback.
And
But do they
They
have
have
anybody
proven
around him,
No,
or do they have a
but
quarterback? Do they
this-
have a coach?
Right, but this
they
is
have
the other issue.
proven it.
But
though.
this is the other issue. Nobody else. We know what a disaster Tampa Bay's going to be. We know that Atlanta's going to choke.
Yeah, because
I mean, they're just going to choke.
if they choked with
And then you have, obviously, the Panthers
Panthers
and
and
New
the
Orleans.
Saints.
That gives you the best chance to win it.
And see, I looked at both their rosters this morning. All I saw with the Panthers was like rookie, 2 years, 1 year, 3
Mm-hmm.
years, 5 years, something like that. And then I looked at the Saints roster. It's like 12 years, or not 12 years, 8 years or something. And then it's like all more experienced.
Right.
Like
That's, yeah.
because I'll go to the Panthers roster, and they will have less experienced players than New Orleans.
And it'll take 2 to 3 years. And then if
Yeah.
they can get anything out of Bryce, with anything close to
If they
what's
just keep
expected,
Bryce upright.
and that's what I mean.
Yep.
And get rid of the ball quick. You're kind of the opposite of McCaffrey, right?
Yeah.
He's a great player, but never on the field. There's a reason for that. It's not because he was injury prone. It's because
But he was
hell beat
overused.
out of him.
Yeah, he was
Because-
overused
yeah.
because that's
I
all
mean,
they had offensively.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I think you got somebody that's a little bit more process oriented. Yeah, another thing too is the college game is real exciting, and you got zone reads and RPOs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to have somebody if you're going to build a championship team, somebody that's a generational IQ talent like Bryce Young is.
So
Now, does that mean he's going to do it? No. But does that mean it gives you the greater opportunity? The answer is yes. So the draft capital is worth it. And did you say Justin's the one that made that point? Okay.
Yeah.
To his point, now they're going to have to start redirecting that capital so they don't lose out on trades.
When
like
you
that
go
going
back and
forward.
look at starting Panther quarterbacks over the last, let's say, 15 years, you have not had a quarterback that could process like Bryce Young. Sam Darnold? No. Cam
God,
Newton?
No.
Go all the way back to Jake DeLong. Jake had outstanding weapons around him. It's what made Jake
And he
good.
was a steady
Didn't he have-
He was a
player.
good distributor,
Steve
but he
Smith.
wasn't. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he wasn't that accurate. He was like Cam. I mean, there were receivers, Wesley Walls and Steve Smith, and there were players, Musim Muhammad. There were players that made Jake DeHome look great.
You mean a fast receiver, a big receiver, and a tight end?
That's right.
What a concept.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now let me tell you
Wow.
why I'm concerned
What
with
a
New
concept.
Orleans being on top. Okay. First of all, Alvin Kamara is suspended.
Yep.
4 games, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not right.
but they don't play. They don't.
But
play
now wait.
great teams in the
You
four
got
games.
2 offensive linemen. Both your guards are questionable. Okay? And Shaheed, he's questionable at wide receiver. So that leaves you with Derek Carr and Michael Thomas
That's it.
and a questionable offensive line. That's why I'm not so sure that they're the ones. Okay? I think
Then
it's going to be so ugly in the South.
Yeah, that's kind of
Somebody's
what-
going to fall into the number 1 slot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what G was telling me this morning on our way here.
Yeah.
Is
Somebody's
that
eventually
everybody's
going
so bad. Everybody's so bad that he thinks that because of Derek Carr, that New Orleans is the one that's going to end up pulling it out because Tampa Bay's going to self-implode because
Yeah,
of what
because
they got.
Baker Mayfield. We have arguably the number 2 duo in the NFL for wide receivers, and we have a good and rookie or not rookie, his second year, K. Dotton. He's a good blocking tight end.
You talking about the Bucks?
Yeah, the Bucks.
Yeah, your team. Yeah.
When I look, here's the deal. When I look at the schedule of the Saints, I don't see them picking up wins outside the division. Because let me give you their non-divisional teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tennessee.
they can't beat Tennessee.
There's no
They
way.
might beat the Packers, maybe.
They will beat the
I don't
Packers.
think they can beat the Patriots. Not with what's his name, the offensive coordinator now.
Steven Belichick? Or
No,
the
head
other guy.
coach that came. Help me, somebody
Cliff
help me.
Murray?
The Patriots knew O'Brien, Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Oh,
His
yeah.
offense coordinator. See, I don't think
And he knows how Belichick thinks. It's
right.
gonna be
I don't.
Very,
I don't
very
think they
different.
can beat the Patriots. They can beat the Texans. Everybody beat the Texans. I don't think they can beat the Jaguars. And they got to play
No,
Jaguars
no.
twice.
Lanny, in that division, it's interesting you're saying that, but in that division, I'm not so sure that the other teams don't win 1 or 2 games outside of division as well.
Mm-hmm.
You could be looking at a 4 or 5 win team end up winning that division.
I'm not
instead
sure
of
that the
6.
South, that the number 1 team coming out of the South is any better than 8 and 9.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
And that's how
Remember
it
the
was
Panthers? The Panthers
last
won it
year.
1 year.
Right.
The
oh,
Panthers,
they were just
the
you know.
Panthers were this close to winning it last year because of their run game. But then once Tampa Bay figured out about their run
Yeah.
game,
Right.
then it was all over for them.
But go down through here because they can't. I don't think they can beat the Colts. I don't think they can beat the Bears.
the Colts.
I don't think they come close to beating the Vikings or the Lions. Both those teams are going to be good. I mean,
Lions-
Green Bay's
yeah.
kind of picked
Or
last
the
in that division.
And they should be.
and they should be.
Yeah.
Because
And I don't think they can beat the Giants or the Rams.
I think they can beat the Rams because I think
You're not big on the Rams anymore, are you? Yeah.
like after what happened last year, who thinks it's going to be any better this year?
Yeah,
Because,
they
they
it'll be
lost
interesting to see
Jalen
if he.
Ramsey.
Yeah, that's true. It'll be interesting to see if he can.
And
recover from
it'll
that.
be interesting to see if Matthew Stafford can
Mm-hmm.
pull it off again. I think that the one season that they had where they won the Super Bowl, I think that was their
Yeah, that's what they built it for. The one season, right?
Yep,
Right.
and
That's okay.
they had
That's kinda what-
barely any injuries.
Well, no, you're right, but that's kind of what New York Jets are doing.
I've
They're
told
trying
you.
to-
They're
I've told you.
building-
And I used to argue with Marty Herney about this all the time. There are very small windows to win Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The days of the dynasties that you saw, they have gone away because of the money,
Right.
the money issues.
Right.
You have got to have a quarterback on a rookie deal that can play and get you where you need to be because you can spend that money bringing in other pieces.
players, yeah.
But when you have to pay that quarterback, you've lost those other pieces.
Yes.
Richie wants to know about receivers. Let me come back to that, Richie. Milton, you're exactly right. DJ was a sloppy route runner, but he was still
Yeah.
an
Very.
athlete.
Yeah, he was, and I think to that point, the reason that he didn't take as much pride in that was because he could about suck in anything that
Yeah.
was thrown within
His talent
20
and
feet
size.
Up. Yeah, it was crazy. You know, what if he would have refined it like to have all that and then had the work ethic of, I say work ethic, he works hard, but had the precision of a Jerry Rice
Mm-hmm.
or tried to aspire to that. Imagine that.
Yep, had
That
the
kid,
commitment
yeah,
to do
with
that.
kid.
Justin, being an old offensive lineman, says, do you think football has changed the rules so much to favor offenses that it's necessary to have an offensive-minded head coach to get to Super
Laney
Bowl?
does.
Look at the last Super Bowl coaches, Reed, McVay, Sirianni, Shanahan, Arians. I do.
Laney does.
I do. And here's the
Bruce
reason. Here's the
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
This is the reason that I said that you got to do that. Defense may win the Super Bowl, but you got to have enough offense to get you there.
Sure.
And that's where the problem is.
Because the other teams don't have the defense.
That's correct.
That is not the problem with the dysfunctional mindset right now. And I say, God, it's not fair, but it feels like that. Is that the other teams have tried to adopt a philosophy that they're basically going into with a no-win situation. Like they're trying to be dynamic offensively and so exciting and all this, but they don't have any of the playmakers to do that have, or the players that have the ability to do it, but yet they're trying to do it, so they sacrifice their defense to try to be cool and, you know, do what's happening now when they're just basically cutting their head off, spite, you know, their nose off, spite their face.
And
Who knows?
Milton's
So-
right. Moore did not run crisp routes if he wasn't the initial target. And
Yeah,
he's not the only one out there that does that. They'll take time off.
And they let them do that.
Richie said Delhomme was the game manager, didn't turn the ball over, helped get us points on the board, and then let the defense take care of it. The problem was, and I said this forever, and I found out it was John Fox instead of
Was it?
Henning that was calling the plays as the offense coordinator because all those plays go through Fox's headset. Fox was a coach because he was so defensively minded. Let's take the opening drive, get down there and get a field goal, and then we'll play defense for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
And it don't work that way anymore.
Yeah.
Too many explosive players and
Patty
playmakers.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick
you can't do
Mahomes-
that with the dynamic players.
That's right.
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow,
Joe Burrow,
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny Pickett,
And
And
likely-
Herbert, too, at the
And-
Chargers. They just had a coach.
Herbert.
But there's one problem with the Chargers, and
Besides
he's
the
a great
coach.
guy. He's a great guy.
Sure.
But Staley does not make good decisions. It's kind of like DJ Moore with his route running.
Yeah.
He doesn't make good decisions
Right.
because that's how they blew a 28-0 lead to the Jags, who have had no playoff experience in who knows how long. And then they came out and they played the Chiefs for a very good game.
Yeah, but it's still preseason, and that's why I don't watch preseason.
I don't
it's
either.
really not.
It makes me feel bad.
There's
Justin
nothing-
said that Chris
there's nothing to
Olave will break out this year.
Chris
Olave.
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 That's who
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Stephen,
the
good morning.
boy
Hey,
from
hey.
Ohio State. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
solid, man.
I was just looking at this. Who knew that Jimmy Graham was still in the NFL?
I didn't know Jimmy Graham was still. in the
God,
NFL.
dude, that guy's a great
He
player
is
too.
36,
Yeah,
and he still plays for the Saints.
that's
I mean, but
didn't he? Know where it came from?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Justin says that New Orleans has a top 10 defense.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks you're sleeping on the offense. He thinks I'm sleeping on the offense, and Carr will help that passing game.
Yes.
That is kind of. I mean, that is kind of the premise of just let's say that's kind of the focus of lining things up, and why G was saying, explaining to me earlier why he thought New Orleans was going to win,
Their division.
because they are
They're
the
the
lesser
best
of
team.
all the evils.
Well, here's the deal: the South will only get
Is wide
one.
open
They
this
will
year.
only get one.
Oh yeah, and they're going to take from somebody else that probably deserves to get there.
The South will
Lanny,
get
The division
one
is
playoff
wide
game.
open.
guys,
this
there's
year.
going to be 2 10-win teams in the NFC that will not get into playoffs this year.
Yes.
There'll be 2 because of the South.
Yeah,
The
Now, I'm
Lions-
hopeful that is not the case, but I think it's going to be the Vikings and potentially the – who'd you say, the
Giants?
Lions?
No, they're in the
Potentially
same
the-
division.
Huh? They still both have
Yeah,
10
yeah,
wins.
yeah.
That's my point.
But who else is going to win that division?
My point is it's either going to be one of those 2 and then another 10-win team.
It's probably going to be the Cowboys. that
Right.
is.
Well, yeah, but
Or
Dallas is going to
the
win the Super Bowl
Giants.
every year. I'm so sick of listening to that stuff.
I still think
Oh,
the
my.
Eagles win that division. Might
Yes.
get a second team.
Yeah.
In the North may get 3 teams in the playoffs.
All right, tell me who.
Everybody but the Packers.
So that
There's-
would be
That'd be
No.
Chicago, Minnesota, and Detroit.
Okay, so
I can
wow,
see
you're going to give
Detroit.
Chicago 9 or 10 wins. Mm-hmm. That's what that. Yeah, okay. But I mean, I hope that happens
Now
because
that
I
I
want to
think
see that
about it.
kid do well.
Because I want to see Justin Fields.
Well, I do too. I
do
like
well,
him, man.
because
I like that guy.
because the situation that he is in.
Or
It's
just
not
what he
good.
came. Right.
Let
just
me
what he
let
came
me
through.
let me give you wins for them. Okay, look at the schedule.
All right.
They'll beat the Packers.
Oh yeah.
They'll beat the Bucks.
Oh yeah.
They'll
Oh, yeah.
lose to the Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Broncos maybe a toss up. We'll
Where's
see.
that? Where are they playing now?
I'm
In
excited
Chicago.
for
They're going to beat
Denver
them in
this
Chicago.
year.
Okay.
They'll beat them in Chicago.
They'll beat
I'm
Washington.
excited for the Broncos.
They'll beat Washington.
Oh yeah.
They'll lose to the Vikings.
Oh yeah.
They'll beat
Big
the
time.
Raiders.
Yes.
They can beat the Chargers.
Maybe.
They can beat the Saints.
yes.
They can beat the Panthers.
Keep
yes.
They'll lose to the Lions or toss
Or
up
split,
Yes.
right?
and a
They
split
will lose.
with the Vikings
Vikings.
and the Lions again. They'll lose to the Browns.
Ooh.
They'll beat the Cardinals,
Yeah.
Falcons, and Packers
I
on the
think
back
they
end.
beat the Browns.
I think.
I bet they win 12 games.
They
The-
might.
the-
I mean,
the
they've got a pretty
Bears?
good schedule.
You
I
know
think.
what?
Bears?
Just reading that schedule, I bet they win 11, 12 games.
And do you
And
know
you
who
know
will
who-
still win the division? The Lions.
Well, they might. But
Justin's cheating. Justin's
say? What'd he
cheating.
say? What'd he say?
He's a Dallas fan.
Oh,
He
my
said, my
Cowboys
Cowboys
will
will challenge the Eagles this year. They will self-implode. I'll go ahead and
There's
tell
no way.
you. No.
yeah, there is.
No.
It might happen.
Go back to your stats now, Justin. Here's the deal.
With Dak.
If Dak, the
Dak.
number is 33. If he has to throw more than 33 passes, they lose.
Exactly.
If they can play with him throwing under 33 passes, they
might
win.
win.
You got Pollard that's not back. Zeke's gone. He does not have a running game he can rely on.
Yeah. And that means, guess what that means? He has to throw the ball.
That's the way I'm seeing it.
And
So I don't think Dallas can challenge.
And the left side of that offensive line is very weak.
Well, you got Zach Martin's been re-signed. We'll see.
Zach Martin is on the right side.
He's not their left tackle? Then they're paying him too much at $18 million.
He lost. They lost that one guy.
I'll look at the depth
Lyle
chart.
Collins.
I'll look at the depth chart in a
They
second.
lost him.
Let me take a break. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And we're back. Let me take care of my boy Justin here with these Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not anti-Dallas. I promise. I'm not. I'm
a
no.
Steelers fan.
I'm a realist.
Okay, but the thing about it is, even though with 70s blood, I'm supposed to not pull for the Cowboys, I do like their players. And I enjoyed when Aikman played. And,
Deuce Vaughn and Tony Pollard.
All these, what I'm talking about. Irvin. I enjoyed watching those games and watching those guys play. I couldn't pull for them, but I really liked them.
Well, here's the deal. And I'll tell you this, Justin. And I think if you're a real Cowboy fan, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Dallas doesn't get to where they can compete solid year after year until Jerry Jones is no longer in charge.
Hey, I'll tell you something. Do you want to know what was the problem with CeeDee Lamb
What?
last year?
What's that?
Because he is now the number 1.
Right.
They traded Amari Cooper. He is now the number 1.
Right.
And defenses are so much better in the NFL because they learned how to adapt to these good offenses. Take, for example, the 49ers.
Okay.
They balled all season, and then Purdy gets injured, McCaffrey's injured, Bosa's injured, Warner's injured. All their playmakers are injured. They had
Thank
they had 10 starters on their defense that were out. They had one true starter on their defense, and that was the Eric Armstead guy. But
I'm going to give you the Cowboys' schedule, okay?
oh yeah,
And I'll give you wins and losses, Justin, okay? I'm going to call the Giants. I'm going to call that a toss-up because it's in New York.
It's
I'm going to
both
say
those teams are
Jets.
really good.
The Jets,
will school them.
I think so. They can beat the Cardinals. I'm not sure they can beat the Patriots.
I
Maybe
don't-
because it's at home.
Let's just say toss up, right?
Okay.
We'll say toss
I don't
up.
think they can beat the Chargers.
The
I don't think they can beat the
49ers will school them.
49ers.
The
I don't think they can
49ers
beat the
will
Rams or the Eagles.
Ooh, the Rams. That'll be interesting.
They'll go 4 weeks without a win because
Whoa.
3 of those 4 are away.
What about who they play next?
The 49ers.
Then they go Giants again.
And then
They can beat the
gotta go
Panthers.
49ers.
They can beat the Commanders. I'm not sure they can beat the Seahawks.
I don't.
And then
think so.
Eagles and Bills and Dolphins, they may end up the season with going 1-5 with Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. It may be the Commanders the only team they can beat in the last 5 games. I don't think they can go to Buffalo and beat them. I don't think they
No.
can go to Miami and beat them.
No, they can't. They can't. If
you
the
know
Lions, the Lions are one of the best teams.
They
at
are.
playing
They are.
away games.
Yeah.
They play. They're very functional, and
Because Dan Campbell is an amazing
well,
coach.
well,
and
he
knows how
is.
to manage a game.
He does, and they've got a boy in there at quarterback now.
Jared Goff.
Yes, that has been
He's been there. He's
Tested.
been to a Super Bowl before.
well he's been
and
tested
he got
too,
killed
right?
because he had to play the Patriots in the
Right,
Super Bowl.
but he's
Like,
been tested, okay, and he knows how to manage a game.
Monster in the big gulp. Sugar-free Monster, Justin, just in case you wondered. Richie said the question with Miami is
Okay.
about Tua. Will he be healthy?
See, I think,
But
personally,
you
Miami,
can go through a whole list of teams that really could make a 35% win difference
Yeah.
if their quarterback goes down.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And
but
Tua's one of them.
Miami's more to who said that?
Richie.
Okay, Rich. So to Rich's point, Miami is more vulnerable to me than most of the other teams in NFL if their quarterback does go down because they put so much into that one
they
position
put too much into
to make
Tua.
it more of a playmaking position rather than a distributive position.
Right.
And that is
And the problem is he can't cash those checks.
Right.
Cardinals
right,
are another one.
Right.
They put too much in Murray.
Yeah, oh, God. I mean, again, it's style, substance,
He's
right?
fine.
Style versus substance.
He is 5'5" playing quarterback, maybe even shorter than that.
And now
He's
here's another thing that I saw.
Mighty
And
Mouse will not end up pulling out.
I
This-
mean, it's tough.
And I
And
think
it's tough because-
this one, the offense coordinator Todd Monken at the Ravens is using some routes that were pitched by Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have got to make Lamar a passing quarterback because there
They
again
can't
he
do
can't
that.
stay healthy. If you
They
can't get your
can't.
quarterback to postseason,
They can.
if you can't get your quarterback into week 19 basically
which is
or week 18,
the divisional round.
you're in trouble.
He doesn't play in December.
That's what I'm saying.
And to your point, and that's what I mean. He doesn't play in December traditionally.
And do you want to know something? I think that the Ravens will end up being either third or fourth in their division,
Behind.
behind either the Browns
Or they will be behind the Browns.
or they'll be behind the Steelers.
I don't think the Browns are going to be that good.
Really?
Watson.
I just don't.
He's not
I
the guy
don't
for
have
that.
faith in Deshaun Watson.
I don't.
I have
either.
never been. I was a college fan of his, but as far as the NFL goes,
he's just not.
I have not been a fan of
Deshaun Watson.
I don't dislike him. That's not what
I
I mean.
don't hate him either, but
that's not what I mean
just
when I
not.
say I don't dislike him. I just don't believe that he
is
can
the
do it.
one.
I just don't think he can do it. And I think that, there are things like, without going into a whole,
I think.
but people feed off of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your ability to be a leader is to be able to inspire. And I just don't see that part of him. And I hope I'm wrong because I want him to do well.
Yeah.
I just don't see that materializing and coming to fruition in Cleveland. I just don't see it.
It's kind of like what.
And I hope I'm wrong because I like him. I don't want to finish ahead of Steelers, but, I don't dislike him as a person. I just don't have any faith in him
See.
for whatever reason.
And do you want to know something? I think they tried to do the same thing that Tampa Bay did with Brady. They tried to bring in Brady and Gronk because you have to find someone that he is familiar with.
Oh, that's fair.
And
Yeah,
that-
to compliment. Yeah, to
And
compliment
then
the
they
style.
tried to do the same thing with Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper, but they weren't familiar with each other, and that's where they got it wrong.
Well, weren't
Yeah,
they
we'll
trying
see.
to get?
We'll
Weren't they
see.
trying to get? Weren't the Browns trying to get DeAndre Hopkins because he had played with Deshaun?
Yes, or no, he isn't. No,
They
Dion's
played.
been
They
in the
played.
game.
They played with each other at Clemson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, they played each other at Clemson. I don't know, man. I just think there's I still think there's things to work out in Cleveland.
And boy, there is nothing behind him
That's kind of what I'm
as a
you know,
quarterback,
yeah.
and injury prone. And then you take Lamar. So is he, but I like Tyler Huntley.
Oh,
I think
do
Tyler Huntley
too.
is a better distributor.
Yeah.
He's not a
Too,
better
yes.
playmaker,
Well,
but he's a.
Tyler Huntley.
I think
He
I think
knows how
Tyler
to
Huntley could
manage
be
a
starting
game.
for somebody.
Who's the boy that's quarterbacking out at Seattle?
Geno Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Huntley. Now they're
It's
not
the
really
same
the same player,
situation.
yeah.
but they
But
provide
it's the same situation.
Right, they provide the same kind of spark. Seattle, just switching gears on that. Lanny, they're probably gonna.
Yeah, Seattle's
They're
gonna surprise some
probably
people.
gonna
Now,
do it.
Milton said Tua's too small, too fragile,
Yeah.
and Justin is right.
Same thing.
They said Drew Brees was too.
Do you want to know what?
But
it
the
is?
problem, the difference is you've got to have a coach that can structure the offense around them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why Drew Brees was successful because he had Sean Payton.
But
I think Sean Payton can make anybody better.
Russell Wilson
I think you'll see a drastic change in the Broncos.
and Russell Wilson.
Exactly right.
They will
Well,
run the ball more.
They're going
They
to
will
keep
still
him
throw
from
it.
having to do everything, which will allow him to do more.
Yes.
Do what
Does that
now?
make-
That,
they'll-
yeah,
they'll-
that, no, no, no,
They
that
will
makes
keep
perfect
him
sense.
from having to
That
do
makes
everything, which will actually allow him
perfect
to do
sense.
more.
Well, sometimes more is less.
And sometimes less is more. but I just think that with the way that the new offensive side of things will be, that he will not have as much on him to produce as much as he does to manage, which will end up letting him produce because of what they'll have to go off of.
Well, the other side of it is, and it's one of those things that when you've got a quarterback with that much talent, getting them to be patient and stay in the pocket. They made that comment early because Bryce Young was only in there 2 series, maybe 3, but they were 3 and outs. So it didn't really matter. But they talked about Bryce Young staying in, taking the hit to make sure the play was finished.
Right.
And so, but you can't do that all game. Do you walk over there and pick up my monster for me, please, so I can show Wrangle?
Okay.
He don't believe that that's what I had. Justin said Sean Payton walked into a similar at New Orleans situation with the offensive pieces in Denver, and they have a stout defense. And that's true. Here you go, Justin. That's every morning, buddy. That's my wake-up call. I don't drink coffee, so that's my wake-up
That's
call
a
right there.
monster.
Richie said the Broncos have changed because of Sean Payton. He will create a structure in that locker room that won't let certain players do what they want to do. And, you know, that was one of the complaints that they said. Here we go. That was one of the complaints that they said about Russell Wilson is he always didn't do what Pete wanted him to do. And there was a struggle there. Look, I had to move it around. There you go, Justin. I'll finally get here where you can see it. That's every day. I have one of those, just one, but I don't drink coffee. I don't drink any other kind of caffeine, so don't get on to me about it.
It's kind of with Gatorade.
Justin said, I believe you, Coach, just not on the same page about my Cowboys. Well, I'll make some – we're still a couple weeks away. I'll make some Super Bowl projections and some division projections.
Make sure to invite me.
Not only – I mean, Justin being a Cowboy fan, regardless of that, you know, they do have a lot of potential. The problem is the self-infliction year after year, trying to overcome that. It's got – being a Cowboys fan probably is more frustrating, you know, right now than being a fan of the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
because there's that level of expectation that is not being met or exceeded
with the actual
through
expectations.
the whole year, right? Where, you know, with the Panthers, you kind of know what you
Well,
got.
here's the thing, and here's
frustrating.
Lincoln Pauly, good to see you in here. He said the Cowgirls suck. Hope they never win another game.
Oh, God.
He's harsh. He's harsh about the Cowboys. He's
I
harsh
agree.
about the Cowboys. Now, here's the deal, Justin. I am a Steeler and Panther fan, okay? But I also look at it realistically because you lose money when you make projections based on your heart and not your head. You have to make the projections based on your head, not your heart. The Panthers are still going to struggle, and I say the Steelers, they may have a good year, and I think it's wonderful that Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. But I want a championship.
Really
I want a championship out of the Steelers.
I mean, that's a great stat.
My Tigers, I don't think they're a year in, year out contender for a national championship.
Right.
You know,
but
I mean, I
they're
do.
winning them. At least they're winning them
Yeah.
and getting there.
Justin said, I'm not a delusional fan. I'll never say it's our year. I'm realistic. Well, that's what you should be. Rich said the same thing. You have a team that has all the expectations, and you end up getting your hopes up with those expectations, and then you get crushed when they implode. Milton said, Cowboy fans have hope, but they are like a 2-year-old running with scissors. And that's a great point right there. You've got some of these teams that if they can hold it together, keep everybody healthy, and maybe get a break or two, they can be very successful. But the other side of it is, like with so many NFL teams and even college teams that are on top, it only takes one of those links to come apart, and then you go on a short skid. You go on a short skid, and you're out of the picture.
Yeah, you're done.
You're out of the picture. The big thing with the NFL is the NFL, you have to be able to get to the playoffs. Okay? That's why, like with Dak, you got to have those wins during the season. That's why with Lamar Jackson, you got to have him play a 17-game schedule and be healthy going into the playoffs.
And then they could come third.
If you can get there, he
can't.
And even the Ravens Super Bowl wins have not been quarterback related. They've been defensive related, but they've been able to have enough offense to get them there. Justin said that's right. That's why he stocks up on Kleenex. It's okay. It's okay. I like watching the Cowboys play. The Cowboys, and nothing against you, Justin, nothing against you, Richie, when I make this statement. Cowboy fans are like Carolina fans. I struggle with both of them, not because of the teams, but because of the expectation and the fans, the way they look at it. They can't look at it realistically.
Yeah,
I remember.
Are you still convinced that Drake May's a number one pick
Who, Drake May?
out of Carolina? Hit me, Richie. Come on. It's Drake May. Right now it's Drake May and Caleb Williams out of Southern Cal.
Why is Caleb Williams better than Drake May?
But I got nothing. I haven't looked that deep.
No, I don't mean at you. I meant like when I look at this, what makes – is it because he plays at USC? I think there have been a lot of decisions over the last several years, as in 20, that decisions have been made based on where the kid plays other than SEC and how they play instead of who they're playing against.
I think.
Because let me tell you this. The reason that you don't use the phrase best players play, okay, the reason that never works in the long run for championship play, it wins games but don't win championships, is because they're not traditionally they're not the most dependable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Agree.
Right. So, when you're looking at a kid that is the best player and he's playing, but you're going up against excuse me, competition that is that of a junior high football team, then how do you measure that? It's all about the measurables.
Well, you have to be able to Joe Burrow's an example.
That's why they took Kenny
Justin
Pickett instead of Malik Willis.
Buffalo quarterback, help me.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. He played in a non-Power 5 conference.
Exactly.
But they felt his skill set was enough that he could overcome.
They hated Josh Allen. All they did was hate on him the whole time that the draft was going, the pre-draft was, he's got a strong arm, he's a big guy, but he's not accurate.
Look how he is now.
Okay. So you're telling me that you have a guy that can run like he can run, that is big and strong, but you don't like his accuracy? How accurate is Zach Wilson? Mm-hmm. How accurate is the kid from Green Bay? How accurate is Trey Lance? Yeah, this is the problem with people that have never stepped under center.
But here's the deal.
And I have no problem with people voicing an opinion, but if you've never played that position, okay, you truly don't understand what it takes. I don't care what level you've coached on. If you don't experience it and everything that comes with it and find the intangibles in that person you're looking for where you fundamentally understand what it takes, you can never fully develop that position or make a true assumption on what that player is capable of because you don't know. I don't like listening to these guys on the NFL that are just analysts from that standpoint on quarterbacks. I wish they'd analyze everything else because that position is different. It's not part of the game. That position is most of the game.
But the other part that makes a quarterback complete, okay, and this is where the difference maker is, the other part that makes the quarterback complete is a coach that understands that potential and skills,
yes,
and can develop and utilize it,
yes,
and not go on just what they did.
Exactly,
because that's what happens. That's why you take a Zach Wilson, for example. That's why I say he has failed because of the dysfunction with the Jets.
I completely agree.
Trey Lance.
Now, I do disagree with Trey Lance because he's got a guy that gets it and understands it.
Who?
But
and I just think they missed on him.
Purdy is the best quarterback.
Well,
for
no,
that team.
he is for what's expected of the other players around him. They're trying to make Lance a playmaker, and that wasn't going to work. So they had to bring in who? McCaffrey, all right, that could function with Jimmy G or Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
And look how Purdy turned
Jimmy
out.
G
He's
is
the
not that
best
top-tier
pick
quarterback
in the
either, but
draft.
he's a great manager distributor with the right coach. That makes a difference.
That's a guy, what if.
Vegas.
Right, that's a guy with the what if he's healthy. And the thing about playing quarterback is this. The reason I got a little on that is because, let's just take an example. Going from youth league football to junior high football, all right, we started throwing the football a little bit in junior high. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is back in the mid-'80s, okay, because I could throw the football. The damn thing in ninth grade, throw it about 55, 60 yards. I mean, it is what it is. So I'd stand back there and, throw 15-yard out routes and rockets and everything. Well, that was okay in junior high. My first week in high school football, which was 10th grade at East Burke, we were 10 through 12. A lot of schools were back then. And I'm playing against a varsity defense with those two big defensive ends we had that could run. My release time was a little different, and my arm wasn't quite fully functional because of what I was going through.
Right.
Mentally trying to
process.
Yeah, slow the game down while these two guys were speeding everything up and trying to get in sync with receivers. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. When it's an intangible playing a position like that, it really reveals who you are and how you handle things versus what you're capable of doing. It's more about how you handle the situation instead of what you do with the situation. When you play a position like that, offensive line, as you know, it's hell in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. You know, you've got to fight every play. You know, you position, do this, do that. But the amount of processing that goes on from somebody that takes a snap, whether it's under center, setting their feet and throwing, or in the gun, setting their feet and throwing, right, to receivers, and everything that's moving, it is a different world. That's why I get so upset. And I say there's people starving the world, so I got things in perspective. But when I'm listening to these people talk about how Zach Wilson wasn't a miss and how Trey Lance was one of the greatest picks ever made in this, I'm like, guys, these guys have not been tested appropriately through no fault of their own. I'm not blaming the player. But you can't put these expectations on these guys when they haven't seen any resemblance of the speed of the game.
And do you know what they said when the 49ers announced that Brock Purdy was starting? They said there is no reason for him to be starting. He is not an NFL quarterback.
Sure.
Well, then that means you don't have any on the
Sure,
roster.
because they were trying to save their face because of where he got
Well,
drafted.
right here's the thing.
And they were wrong.
Milton, 2 comments. I'll address these 2 comments and I'll get out of here. Milton said everyone's down on Mayfield. Has he had an opportunity to play for a team that is trying their best to implode? Now, here's the problem with Mayfield. The problem with Mayfield is the mental side of it.
Yeah, he implodes himself.
Yes,
He's his own worst enemy.
That's correct.
It has
and
nothing
Milton,
to do with his environment.
Milton is exactly right on the final comment. He said, I think the ESPN talking heads are mostly wrong on everything that they analyze and evaluate.
And you know what, guys? Let's just be really clear here. I have no problem with people talking about players and analyzing.
You don't have to agree with
that.
what I say.
No, and that's okay,
So
right? It doesn't. But the problem is, it's the same BS every year. And the league itself, you know, the dynamic nature of the league, it's a major letdown when these kids come in and you talk about how great they are, and then it's wah, wah, wah. And I don't blame the player.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other side.
Of the way that it's just.
And you know this in pro and college. There's a lot of decisions and picks made based on the numbers look good, this saves my job. Because if this kid can't play, it's not going to be on me, but you take a flyer on somebody – and you bring somebody in that don't have the standard size, measurables,
and
numbers,
make it, then you get fired.
And they don't make it, then you get fired.
That's the problem because you're not truly searching for quality. You are searching for style.
And that is called right here. You heard it here. CYA.
It's called BS is what it is.
CYA.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, as a recruiting coordinator, somebody that has done it in college baseball, okay, when I go out and look at a player, I had another coach that I was coaching with him. Well, I don't like that guy's body. I said, I have 2 questions for you. Number one, what are you talking about? And number 2, what does that have to do with the fact that the guy can hit the ball 400 feet and he runs a 6'9", 60? What in the are we talking about?
Yeah.
You don't like his body? Hell, I'm looking at you. I don't like yours. I mean, this thing about, well, you know, I know this and my contention is.
No.
I don't want to hear that shit from anybody.
You have to show it.
Because if you don't fundamentally, like if Tom Brady talks to me about quarterbacking, Terry Bradshaw,
you'll listen.
Lanny Ford, like at football breaks, you talk to me about the offensive line, what am I doing?
Yes.
Or defense, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, Stephen Hensley, when I coached Boo to talk about, you know, offense, what do you want to do? I'm right there because that's what he did.
Yep.
Okay, hey, what, you know, this, no problem. But I'm not listening from somebody.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, my God, dude. I really think that you're seeing the struggles you're seeing with ESPN. I'm sorry, I know.
No, you're good.
With ESPN and Disney are a lot to do with the content and the way it's being delivered and the things that are being promoted within the content, which are just all style and no substance based.
Well, they're making content based on what people want to hear to keep ratings up
they think people
instead of
wanna
being
hear.
honest.
Well, no, they think people want to hear because it's the narrative.
That's right.
And it's cool, and it's when the validity of it. Now, again, I'm not picking on Disney or ESPN. I'm just giving an example. That's why things change. Do I think they'll get it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They will, because that's what you do. You adapt as you see things aren't the way they need to be, right?
Yep.
And the guy they got at CEO back is going to get the company right. We know that. But, this all has a cause and effect, because if you lead with style and not substance, this is what you get.
That's right.
It just
Proof's in the pudding.
I mean, it's like let me ask you this: is an offensive strategy throwing the ball deep and hoping you catch it?
No.
Is that an offensive strategy?
Nope.
No, it's not. It's just like running same thing in offense, running fullback trap every play is not offensive strategy, right?
Nope.
You evaluate what you got to work with
Yes.
and who you're against.
Right, and then you evaluate yourself to pick up tendencies and say, did I do this in this situation? Well, if their defensive coordinator has any clue at all, which most of them do, okay, then he knows I'm probably going to do this here, so I need to do something else.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
The defense
At any level,
man.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
are
it's-
starting to overtake the offense in the
That-
NFL.
well, but every time they do, they change the rules to skew it more towards the
But
offense.
the-
The contact rule is ridiculous.
The reason the
That is- that
defense,
is
but the
stupid.
reason the defense is doing it is because the defense is getting more complacent and not taking chances.
Oh,
they're-
you're talking about on blitzing and things like
Yeah,
that.
they're
Yeah.
reacting. They're
Right.
reacting
well, they're
more.
read and react
Yeah.
instead of
More
of
so
taking
instead
the
of
initiative
making
to
the
be an
initiative.
attack
That's
style.
correct.
but
That's
you want to
correct.
know
But
what?
Lanny, the whole point of great defensive football is being unpredictable.
Yes, yes.
Instead of, well, I'm going to read this and go make that play. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is not defensive mindset. That is offensive
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah, trying to make it happen.
Yeah, you're trying to. I know we got to go.
But see, here's the thing. People always talk about how Kyle Shanahan is a mastermind of offense. Look how that defense is built. That
Well- I
can't
defense
argue with that.
Is built to perfection.
But the other
It
side
really
of it, the other side of it is when you've got a head
Perfection. I
coach,
like it.
yeah.
you got a head coach that will allow his coordinators to do their job and
Yes.
stay out of the way. That's usually the teams that.
Well, think
that
about
work.
his dad being a head
That-
coach, too,
Yes,
right? Now,
yeah.
now, think about this. He says, okay, I've watched my dad all these years. I've done my own thing. I've worked with him, but I've done my own thing. How do I construct this team?
Mm-hmm.
I know offensively I can do what I need to do based on what we have available, and what I like to do is that we'll adapt. But how do I complement this? He has done that. He has figured it out. Like Belichick used to complement his defense with his offensive play, right? With the guys that they, you're seeing that in Shanahan. This guy, is I tell you what, he may be a generational coach before it's over.
I think
with.
so.
And
Now,
just,
I'll argue with you on his daddy, on how great he was. A whole lot of coaches could have been great if you had John Elway as your quarterback.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like
yes,
Belichick.
yes.
You've
I was
seen
trying
that
to-
now.
Yeah, no.
You've seen that now with Belichick.
Well, I'm not.
I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that it didn't hurt that he had Elway.
Well, right. But with Belichick too, he realized that with Brady gone, they were going to restructure a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
and this is going to be the fourth year now into that. I expect to see New England. I think they're going to win that division. I think the Jets are going to finish second and the Bills third.
The only coach
Crazy, I know.
quarterback combination that should have won multiple Super Bowls and didn't was who? Old school.
Oh, it'd be
what's his
Tomlin
name?
and Tomlin and.
Gotta go further than that back.
Roethlisberger. I'm kidding.
Don Shula,
Oh, and
Dan Marino.
But why? Tell me why.
Didn't have
Didn't have what?
defense. Yeah,
Had great
I was-
players
Yeah.
on defense, but not a
great defense.
great defense.
Hey,
We're out. See you tomorrow.